So the Detroit Tigers are playoff bound for the first time since 2014. And honestly, if you would have told me that they would have been in the playoffs in August, no one would have believed you. Obviously, we all know the statistics. 6.9% chance in July, on July 19th, I believe. August 11th, 0.2 chance of making the playoffs. And it's interesting because, I remember because I follow the Atlanta Braves a little bit. I remember there was a year went and they had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. They end up making the playoffs and win the World Series. What I'm trying to say is baseball, hockey, football are fickle games. We've seen the Giants go to the Super Bowl to play the New England Patriots, who are undefeated, and beat them. We saw a St. Louis Blues team fire their coach midseason, go on a run, become the eighth seed, and win the Stanley Cup. We've seen the Texas Rangers last year and the Arizona Diamondbacks, two of the teams that I don't think anyone thought was going to go to the World Series, end up going to the World Series. This Detroit Tigers team has something going. It's not it's not something that you can script. It's not even something that you could have bet on because if anybody would have bet on the Tigers to win the World Series in obviously August 11th, it would have been like throwing your money away. And now you look at it right now, and boy, oh boy, they have a good shot because once you get in the dance, that's all that matters. You get in the dance, you have a shot. A lot of people they think about it like, oh, you know, obviously the Yankees are gonna win, the Dodgers are gonna win. Guys, we've seen this before. You go to any MLB playoff postseason, Tiger fans can remember in 2006 when you went to the World Series and you played a hot team in the St. Louis Cardinals and they beat you. We all know how this goes. We've seen it twice, in my lifetime I've seen it twice. You go to the World Series against the Cardinals, they're hot, they beat you. You go to the World Series in 2012, you play the Giants, they beat you. They're a hot team. It just goes to show you baseball is something that when you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not. And right now, the Tigers are one of the hottest teams in baseball. So it goes to tell you that no matter how you feel about this team or about this run, they are one of the top teams in baseball right now. And I'm not sitting here, I'm not going to tell you that, oh, this is just the way it is. Well, very intrigued by the way that this team is playing right now. And tonight, clinching a postseason berth, even though it's a wild card, it's fine. I don't think anybody on this team thought, or I don't think anybody on, I think the team thought, but I don't think any of the fans thought, yeah, we're going to make the postseason on August 11th. This team is hot. This team is something that you really can't script, you can't fathom. I can't find the words to put into an actual video where I'm like, wow, this is what's happening. Because there's no rhyme or reason how this is happening. You know, look at half the people on this list. I mean, Tyler Holton's playing good. We know Jason Foley and Tyler Holton, but besides Bo Brisky, and Bo Brisky and Will Vest, who do you know on this list? Did you know Sean Gunther before he came up? Did you know Brendan Hannafy before he came up? Brian Sammons before he came up? It just goes to show you that this is something that you're always going to remember for Detroit fans. And I think this is something that's just about to come. I think the Tigers obviously look like they're heading in the right direction. The Red Wings look like they're heading in the right direction. The the Lions look like they're heading in the right direction. I almost said the Pistons, but I have no faith in the Pistons right now. I mean, we'll see. They have some good talent, but we'll see. But you gotta love it because I'm sure that this is going to prove to ownership. Let's spend some money in the off season. Let's make some moves because we actually have a team that you can build upon. See, I've always told people for multiple times. I've always told people, why would you, if you're an owner of the Tigers, why would you spend money on a team that has no future? Like when El Avila went and spent money on Javi Baez, how did that help the Detroit Tigers? Eduardo Rodriguez, how did that help the Tigers? When you have incompetent general managers, the rebuild that you had, which was, Al Avila started that rebuild in 2015, it gets longer. The Tigers and the Red Wings, similar things, man. They both had 2 general managers during that time. You think Steve Yzerman is gonna get it done. You think Scott Harris is gonna get it done, but it just goes to show you sometimes rebuilds take a little bit longer than you would hope, but this team has the makings of being a good team moving forward. I mean, man, I thought Tarek Skubal had a hell of a year. Riley Green, hell of a year. Both showed who they truly are. But I think in the process, you learned about bullpen arms, some guys that you can count on for the future. So it makes you okay. We can go without a bullpen arm in free agency. Let's go spend it on a bat, perhaps a third baseman like Alex Bregman or Pete Alonso, something along those lines. It wouldn't have made sense to spend money last offseason because truly, you didn't know who you were. The Tigers didn't know who they were. I'm pretty sure AJ Hinch, when he went into the regular season, I'm sure he thought that there was potential that they could be good. I don't think he thought there could be potential to be great. As you got into the season and you knew that you had a guy like Terry Skubal, you got a guy like Jack Flaherty, Reese Olson was pitching out of his mind, and obviously Kenta Maeda, which is a free agent signing, it bombed. But what you're seeing right now is ever since they traded Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers for Trey Sweeney and the catcher who is in Double A, they have hit an ultra stride level of where they're going in their predicament. And if you look at the numbers, Trey Sweeney is a way better shortstop than Javier Baez ever was, especially this year. And it just goes to show you that even though the Tigers sold, they got better. I think that's the makings of a good general manager. You see that with Steve Yzerman, where he sold a guy like, gosh, he sold, a guy like Nick Leddy, and he got Jake Wallman, who's on a team anymore, but who was useful. That's some of the things that you do. Obviously, in baseball, you can't trade draft picks, but in hockey, you can trade draft picks. That's where the dilemma comes in between those two sports. But those are the two hardest sports to really rebuild in. If we look at the Detroit Tigers team right now, they're going into the postseason, all the momentum, everything's going on the line, and they're playing out of their mind. Just goes to show you, you really have no idea what's going on with a team when they're so hot. And they're probably going to play Baltimore. A couple weeks ago, this was the matchups. I'd honestly, they took Kansas City's spot, and with Kansas City's loss to the Atlanta Braves tonight, Detroit will probably play Baltimore if they continue to win. And look, Baltimore, they're getting their guys back, but Detroit has shown the ability that they're hot and they're way they don't get really thrown off where they're going. I just go to show you that this team is pretty dead set to go into the postseason. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. The Detroit Tigers are going to the postseason for the first time since 2014. And man, this is a fan base, this is a city that deserves this because for all the things that have happened in the last 10 years, ever since 2014, especially with the Tigers. I mean, especially with the Lions hiring Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, the Red Wings firing Ken Holland, and they going through that rebuild that didn't even work. Pistons are still in a rebuild, so it don't really matter. But the three teams that you think are going to be moving forward through their progression are the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Detroit Lions, obviously. But it's going to be getting really real for these Detroit teams. And if you're a guy like Derek Lalonde, who I'm pretty sure the heat is on now, you look across the Woodward Avenue and you see Dan Campbell having success. You see AJ Hinch having success. There's no excuse for not having success this year with the Detroit Red Wings, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, we know in hockey it could be a really fickle game, just like baseball, and you never know the run that can go on. I'm Joe Chapman at JC Sports. I'll talk to you in the next video as we talk more Detroit Tigers baseball, especially since they're going to the postseason. It's going to be fun to break down. I'll see you in the next video as we talk more Detroit Tigers baseball, which is great to say. Before a lot of a lot of times when I was making videos with Detroit Tigers, nothing happened because they were unwatchable. Now it's like I put up a Detroit Tiger video out, people are happy, and that's just the mark of a good baseball team. And it's same with the Lions, same with the Red Wings. Well, Pistons people I think hate watch, but that's beside the point. So I'll see you in the next video as we talk more Detroit Tigers as they are heading towards the postseason, baby.